Chimerical statues with sigils created from animal bones mark the borders of Beastgrave. After that is a land of deep gullies and rearing crags with sharp rocks that tear the flesh of the unwary. The light here is searing while the shadows are hard and cold. Plants that grow here are coiling horrors with inch-long thorns and flesh-eating sap. Within Beastgrave are tunnels that wind and twist to confuse even those with the keenest sense of direction. Light filter from invisible shafts, while floors and walls recede suddenly into darkness. Dead ends and sudden drops are common, while open spaces are honeycombed with side entrances and twisted columns. Deeper into Beastgrave are vast caverns that echo even slightest sound. Spiky sigils and disturbingly alien figures covering the walls. Acidic fluids that eat away stone, metal, and flesh trickle from above. Molten amber roll down corridors to engulf entire chambers, carcasses of fallen beasts, gnawed to the bone by unseen scavengers or swallowed by the amber tides. In some areas, entire walls or floors are formed from smooth, opaque amber that recede into the distance for leagues upon leagues. Staring too long into the golden brown depths cause explorers to see ancient treasures just out of reach, strange lights, or the tortured features of those the mountain has claimed. Even the deeper treasures lie mingled with cracked and mangled bones. Corridors shift and rearrange themselves by the moment. The mountain's hollow hunger becomes more apparent as rocks split open in yawning cracks to devour the bodies of fallen. The longer a person prowls the tunnels, the more they fight their enemies, and the greater the amount of blood they shed upon the mountain's thirsting stone, the more predatory and feral the person becomes. The sentience of Beastgrave leach into the souls of those who fight inside, sharpening their senses and increasing their aggression. Many forget their original intent as their mind drowns in the instinct to hunt and slay. So, with that little lore dump, we are ready to delve into the warbands of Beastgrave and my very subjective feelings about what is the most fun warband to play. If you haven't already, check out the first and the second installment of this series. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and post your comments with your feelings about the different warbands here. I love to hear your opinions. So, without further ado, let's delve into the warbands of Beastgrave. Bye. So, in the bottom here I have put Hrothgorn's Man-Trapper, and this is basically for the same reason I put Mollog pretty low in the previous season. I'm not really a fan of Voltron warbands, although they have Trafnir as well, who can certainly pack a punch. I think, most of the cards and the focus will go to the leader here, and I'm not really a fan of that. There are certainly no lack of powerful cards, and it's actually the only warband in Warhammer Underworlds with 7 searches, which is just crazy. Most new warbands only get 4 searches, I think, from Harrow Deep on. That's the standard. So yeah, super powerful warband. Probably lost a bit of power since some cards have seen restrictions. Tough and Hide, the latest, only goes on the Thrafnir. Before paired up with Massive Bulk and Tough and Hide before this change was just insane. And he is just a beast. So I'm not really. I think I played Hrothgorn 2 times or something. I just felt this is not for me, not the style of gameplay I like. So, but yeah, you can certainly play him. Super Voltron-y. In the old meta, you could play Feed the Beastgrave very successfully with this warband as well. So, but I'm not a fan of Hrothgorn, although the models are pretty cool. So yeah, moving on. Right, next up we have Morlocks. This is a very popular warband. Hrothgorn obviously also a very popular warband. Morgok still is a very popular for Warband, a very strong Warband obviously. Although the 2 glory change for 5 wound fighters is obviously hurting them, and the new beta rule as well. But I suspect we will still see a lot of Morgok squashes. I don't like playing 3-man warbands generally, and Morgok is no exception here. And don't really know what to say. They are super easy to inspire. You can push them around with the leader, so they are quite mobile as well. And I mean, they inspire easy and go to 4 moves, so they are not a slow warband. And just hit like trucks. So if you like to just deal a lot of damage and withstand a lot of attacks, yeah, play Morgoks. They are too powerful for my taste, and the versatility isn't there with 3 fighters, so I'm not a fan. I enjoyed painting them though. Very easy to paint, big, nice surfaces to cover. So if you want to pick them up for that reason, sure, go ahead. And they are also very beginner friendly as a warband. By all means, play them if you like them. Next up, I'll put Ripas. Quite a versatile and strong warband here, and still very popular. Just like Morgok, I guess. Maybe even more so, I don't know. Haven't really checked the tournament lists that much. But yeah, they are super strong still and have always been very strong. And potential to do a lot of damage in one activation, obviously. But they are pretty swingy, quite dice dependent if you play them aggressive. You can play them more passively, obviously, and do that quite well as well. But yeah, they are one of the strongest warbands, and I never really liked playing those, so they will be next up for me here. Next up, I'm gonna put Grimwatch. Also a very popular warband. When Beastgrave came out, probably one of the absolutely strongest, possibly the strongest, when whole objective was a very strong thing. In the name of the king, paired up with temporary victory. Just super broken. Like, so easy to just pile on the glory and like score 25-30 glory without, and then the deck just plays itself. And I don't really like those kind of warbands that have a super easy time playing the game. You don't really have to think that much. You just play the game, and the race mechanic is quite strong. You can't really bring them down very successfully. You need to be super aggressive to shut down their inspired mechanic. I mean, if you like strong warbands that can play a lot of different playstyles, yeah, play them. But they are too powerful for my taste. Still, they're probably pretty fun. Next up, I'm gonna put Wormspat, and the reason they don't place higher is that they are a 3-man warband. I think those just fall apart too easy for my taste, and they lack the versatility that larger warbands have. I don't really want to spend my activations drawing cards. I mean, they have range, so they don't really necessarily have to end up in that trap, but yeah. They are not very strong, so they place a bit higher than the other 3-man warbands, because I just prefer the underdog warbands. The rivals deck is pretty appalling and have some weird like hold 3 stuff in there, which is obviously quite hard to pull off. And so yeah, I like the aesthetic of the fighters as well, so Wormspat will be next. And now time for a warband I don't really like the aesthetic of, but I like the playstyle, so I'm kind of very like ambiguous feeling about them. And that is Skaith's Wild Hunt. I don't really like the models that much. Woodland spirits, I guess. I did not enjoy painting them. I did a sloppy paint job, I remember, just because I didn't feel the warband at all. So I just painted them because I needed to, not much more than that. Maybe if I come up with a really fun paint scheme for them, I'll repaint them, and maybe then I'll enjoy them more. But if we just look at the fighters and the cards themselves, I think they are quite fun, and they have a lot of versatility, obviously, with a high movement and a couple of fighters with pretty strong attacks, but also fairly frail fighters. I've heard that they are doing pretty well in Rivals format. I can imagine, actually. So, I mean, they are kind of run-of-the-mill in the middle as power level goes. So, I mean, I definitely don't mind playing them. I just wish I felt more for the aesthetic of the warband, which I do for the next one. And that is Morgwaith's Blade Coven. They are not powerful at all. They are actually quite weak, and a lot of their surges have to do with killing stuff, and that's always very matchup dependent, obviously. But 5 fighters with a lot of speed, it's always fun. And I always was a fan of the witch elf aesthetic. I just wish I did a better paint job with them, and I should have kind of invested more time with painting them. But yeah, so pretty weak Warband as rivals decks go, so you need to build them quite heavily to make them work, I guess. And even then they won't really be top tier. But yeah, that's just what I like, so Morgwraiths will be next. And finishing off Beastgrave is the Warband I have played the most, but I have actually not played them very much, because I haven't played any Beastgrave Warband very much, so this probably is my least favorite season. I would argue that it probably is. I don't really have any Warband here that I feel like picking up all the time, basically. But Grashrax, the spoilers, have grown on me. When they first came out, I didn't care for them at all. And it was actually quite a lot later that I started playing them more, and I think paired up, like Survival of the Fittest paired up with Pure Carnage is a fun play style. So they remind me a lot of Godsworn Hunt, obviously. They play very similar. I would argue they are quite a bit stronger than Godsworn Hunt as well, but I just probably prefer Godsworn Hunt because I like the aesthetic more. Beastmen have never really lured me in as a faction, but I think they play quite fun. Hard inspired mechanic with having to kill 2 enemy fighters, but they don't really rely on inspiring that much. They have some fun ploys with like take a damage and get 2 extra dice. So they are very kamikaze in the way they play. Obviously you can play them hold as well, but they don't have a good defense, so they will probably fall apart pretty easy. So you probably will have a better time just playing them like little missiles with weapon upgrades, basically. So I think you will have fun with them, and I definitely have fun with them when I occasionally pick them up. So yep, that's the last of them. Hope you enjoyed this Beastgrave recap and the most enjoyable Warband series. We'll get on with Dire Chasm, and yeah, lots of fun Warbands there. I do definitely prefer Dire Chasm to Beastgrave in terms of Warband funsies. So don't forget to like if you like it, subscribe if you want to and haven't already, and leave a comment. What would you have put in the top and in the bottom and in the middle, I guess. So see you soon. Take care out there. Bye.